Welcome back to segment number two of Super Bowl 101. We're going to get to some great moments in Super Bowl history. But first, here's the Super Bowl 101 trivia question for segment number two. What team has participated in the most Super Bowl games? And the most. Uh, and we'll have the answer later in this segment. Now for some great moments in Super Bowl history. The first one comes from Super Bowl 29, and that is Steve Young completes his sixth touchdown pass. A 7-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Rice in the fourth quarter was an achievement that would have been remarkable in any game, much less the Super Bowl. And this was one moment that in history that will always be one of the greatest and will be unforgettable. Will be unforgettable. It was unforgettable and will always be remembered. And I remember it well because that was back in 1995 when it was. And so, uh, and that was one that will always be remembered. My next one is one from Super Bowl 35, and that's 33 touchdowns in 36 seconds. The Baltimore Ravens led the New York Giants 10 to nothing in the third quarter, but sealed its victory in less than a minute. First, Ravens defensive back Dwayne Stark returned an interception for a touchdown, and Giant run Giants Ron Dixon then returned the ensuring kickoff, 97 yards for a touchdown. Baltimore's Jermaine Lewis responded with one as well, one of the greatest defenses in pro football history. Had a 24-7 advantage, and as you know, the Baltimore Ravens went on to win that Super Bowl that year. And that was under Art Modell, who was the owner and the former Browns owner, and then became the Ravens owner when they moved the team to Baltimore. He won his first and only Super Bowl, and that was in 2001. My next one, number three, comes uh, from Super Bowl 31. Brett Favre celebrates his first touchdown, and that was when he was with the Green Bay Packers. After completing his first touchdown pass, a 54-yard strike to Andre Rison, Brett Favre took his helmet off and ran around the field in celebration and genuine excitement. It's one of the reasons why we always love to watch Brett Favre play, and that is one that will never be forgotten, and I remember that very well. Well, the next one I have, moving on to and this next greatest moment comes from Super Bowl 14, and it is Steelers Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw and John Stallworth touchdown drop a bomb on the Rams, down 19-17 to the Los Angeles Rams, facing a third down with 8 yards to go in the fourth quarter. Bradshaw hit Stallworth deep in the middle of the field and raced into the end zone for a 73-yard score. The Steelers never trailed again, and they went on to win that Super Bowl 14, and that was in 1980 when that was. That was in 1980. This was one, as you know, it was 1981. It was 1980. So this was one of those games where Terry Bradshaw, who was now Fox analyst on Fox Sports on Fox NFL Sunday, and he was really one of the dominant quarterbacks in NFL history. The next one comes from Super Bowl 28. Emmitt Smith takes control. Uh, After going in at halftime down 13-6 to the Bills, the Cowboys tied the game and then put together a 64-yard touchdown drive. Smith accounted for 61 of those yards when he smashed into the end zone. Smith gave what may have been the most animated celebration of his career, and boy did he ever. And I remember that Super Bowl well, as the Cowboys went on to win that one. And I do believe the final score was 30-13. I just don't remember that. Check me if I'm wrong on that one. But Emmitt Smith is one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, and he was one of my favorites back then. Uh, my next Super Bowl moment that comes from Super Bowl III, Joe Willie Namath, Jets Pro Hall of Fame quarterback, makes that bold guarantee. A few days prior to the game, Namath made the bold guarantee that the Jets would win. The shot across Bell would be a footnote if he hadn't backed it up, but he did. And I'll tell you this, and this is absolutely true. Joe Namath actually said this. If he had not guaranteed him, and if he had not made that touchdown to win it, and if he had not made that shot across the bowl, which is, aka the field, would have been a foot across the field. He wouldn't, and if they had not won that Super Bowl, Joe Namath would not be where he is today. He doesn't know where he'd be, and that is absolutely true. Uh, and I have and that, and I'm gonna right now. It's time to reveal. That was the other one I had. The only one other one that I had. It is time to reveal the answer to segment 2, Super Bowl 101 trivia question. What team has participated in the most Super Bowl games? And if you said the New England Patriots, you are correct. The New England Patriots have participated in 11 Super Bowls. 6 of them they had won. I'll have another trivia question in my next segment coming up. And this year marks the 50th anniversary of the 1972 Miami Dolphins undefeated season, which capped it off winning the Super Bowl. And that's what made it an undefeated season. And the players felt Don Shula should get the game ball, and that's what they did. They gave it to him. And you cannot break perfection in this league. And the New England Patriots came close, but lost in a Super Bowl that the Dolphins were able to breathe a sigh of relief. And they're the only team to go undefeated in the NFL and hold it for the past 50 years. And that is truly remarkable, and it's truly rare and unforgettable. No other team has gone undefeated in the NFL except for Don Shula and the 1972 Miami Dolphins, which they beat it was the Washington Redskins, and it was I think it was either 21-7 or 31-7, and Bob Greasy was the quarterback, and I do believe he was the MVP of that game, and they got the Lombardi Trophy that year, and you can't break perfection, and we will always remember the '72 Dolphins. Actually, no, it was Pittsburgh Miami beat. Excuse me, blah, blah, blah. And the Steelers are the one that lost that game. And Terry Bradshaw was the quarterback, and Franco Harris, who passed away, was Bradshaw's teammate. They both played in that game, and they tried so hard to come back, but they just could not do it. And Franco Harris is one of the nicest guys in the NFL. He was a great player. He did a lot for Pittsburgh, and he will always be remembered. He's looking down and smiling right now because I know he'll be watching the Super Bowl from up there. So, And but you cannot mess with perfection in this league. And uh, I don't know if any other team will be able to do what the Dolphins did in 1972 because that is not easy to do, and it's very rare and precious to go undefeated. And I tip my hat to the 72 Miami Dolphins to this day, 50 years later. So, and I commend them for that. Well, coming up in the next segment, I will have some reflections on the 2022 NFL season. And there was a few teams that were surprise teams, a few teams that didn't do so well, and a team that was an open doormat, and one team that has a few pieces of the puzzle that they need to fill. So stick around, and I'll have another trivia question coming up in segment number 3. So stick around for more Super Bowl 101 right after uh, right after this.